Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out ProbateMastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit ProbateMastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. Welcome in, guys. It is 2:01, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for jumping in. Hey, Bill, good to see you. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind, and what will be a future podcast. Anyone that wants to ever watch this after the fact or go listen to past calls that we've had, we do these every Tuesday, but they're also published on your favorite podcast platform at under the handle Estate Professionals Mastermind. We also put these calls onto our YouTube channel. So YouTube, just Probate Mastery. And we've got a whole backlog of these sessions with good questions, good success stories. So if you're new here, that's where you can find these after the fact, or if you ever miss one of these, they're always kind of a library available for you guys to look at. As I mentioned, these calls are every single Tuesday. We're here to kind of talk the estate and probate business for your real estate practice, whether you're an agent or an investor. If you are new, I want to welcome you guys. If you've been here many, many times before, I want to welcome you all back. You guys know the drill, but if you're new, I want to hear some questions, some comments. This is truly meant to be kind of a mastermind where we interact, we share strategies, we share stories. Failures are fine to fail. We can get a little bit of coaching if we've done something and it just didn't seem to work. I want to welcome a lot of the familiar faces I see. Hey, there's Ben Gaines. Ben, I think this is your first time in here. Ben's a good buddy of mine and a market close by to here. But at any rate, I just want to thank you guys and welcome you in. If you want to comment and participate today, go down to the bottom of your Zoom window and click on the React button. So there's a little heart down there that says React. Click on that, and there's a bar that says Raise Hand. Click that bar. I will call on you. You can ask your question, share your story, share your experience, whatever you want to talk about. I can tell you, and I know Bill Gross, who's in here now, we can both tell you sometimes when there's not interaction, it gets a little boring. We can just talk to a bunch of Zoom screens, Zoom squares, and we can do it, but we want to hear the questions from you guys. You've got a lot of people that are specializing in probate and getting business in the probate space. So to start things off, I want to hit a topic about being relevant when it matters. So I'm just going to kind of kick the topic off, and you guys can steer me with your questions and comments. But I'm going to kick us off in the direction of being relevant when it matters with someone with family that's going through probate. And sort of describe to you all what the probate experience is like from the consumer standpoint. So you've just lost a loved one. There are folks on this call like Melanie, who, as the probate nurse, has a nursing background and has a lot of connections in the hospice space. And she knows, she understands what it might be like for a family that is grieving and in the process of piling on top of that grief and on top of their busy lifestyle and on top of their family needs and on top of their work needs. All of a sudden, on top of all that, piling the beginnings of a probate process. Okay. And these folks many times are exceptionally gracious for the help that we offer. So I don't want anyone here to hear what I just described and go, well, the last thing they want to do is hear from me right now. That's not necessarily true. That may be the perfect thing that they need right now, is to hear from someone who can, with empathy, guide them through the probate process. So I want you all to understand that and not necessarily lay the feeling on them or project the feeling onto them that they don't want or need to hear from you. They do. But we also have to recognize that they're going through all those different things in their life. There's a lot of stresses and a lot of complexity that's already happening in their life, combined with grief, combined with life as normal, and then you lay the brand new job on top of this administrator who we're talking to of having to go to the court and apply for probate and how to figure out how to fill out the forms. Has anyone been to the clerk's office and tried to figure out how to fill a form out? How much help they are? They are not a lot of help. Okay. It's like, here's this 10-page form and you have to fill everything out in triplicate. And no, I can't help you. You have to do it yourself. So they've got forms. They have to coordinate and arrange for court hearings and go and sit with the magistrate or the judge locally. They have to get their letters. Many times the judge is going to look at what they've submitted and say, hey, this isn't enough. I'm not going to approve this until you bring these forms back or bring these heirs back or go find these debts. Then they have to run notices in the newspaper for creditors, and they have to find additional family members in some cases if there wasn't a will. And all these different things kind of pile on top of the plate of a busy person who might also be grieving. Okay. And then think about their situation where all of a sudden their phone rings. They've applied for probate and their phone rings, and someone on the other end goes, hey, you just applied for probate. Do you want to sell the house? Okay. What are they going to say? What are they going to say? Now, those of you that are on the phone and you've been on the phone, I want to hear from some of you all, maybe what you're hearing on the phone when you do that. Now, I probably just scared a whole lot of people, and I didn't say any of that to scare any of you. This is not a scary situation when you know what you're doing and you recognize the value that you can provide. But when that person that you've called that's dealing with all those different things tells you, I have no idea, haven't even talked about it yet, and you go to your little notebook or your CRM and you go, no deal here, I want you to know how much opportunity to, number one, help that you're passing up, but number two, how much opportunity in your business you're passing up because you had the wrong expectation. So when we talk about expectations in the estate and the probate space, our expectations are in the beginning to be a resource and a help to a family that's overwhelmed. That's number one. And if they don't take the help that you're providing them right away, recognizing that it's normal and that you now have a runway to be able to build credibility and a relationship with someone who's probably not going to rush to sell a property. So, number one, be a resource, be a real help, be an empathic ear at times to let someone talk through their struggles where maybe they don't want to talk to their family members about it. But number two, if they hold you at arm's length, that's okay because they've got a lot of things on their plate before, in many cases, before there's a real estate need. When I prospect and market in the probate niche, I want you guys to know that I am not prospecting or marketing for the person that urgently has to sell a house today. And many of you guys that might be a shocker to you. If I call someone and I hear, yeah, we're going to sell the house in the next 2 weeks, I don't feel very good about getting that business unless they're out of town. So maybe they're out of state, they're not local, they don't know anybody else. But for the most part, when I hear that from a personal representative that has just applied for and has just opened probate, I know that I'm probably going to be up against the 3 or 4 other agents that they already know, or the 5 other agents they already know, or maybe the investor that's slipping in with a quick cash, easy offer. For those of you that are investors, it's a good opportunity for you. But for the most part, I'm in this niche for the family that's overwhelmed today and doesn't even have time to think about the house today. That's what I'm here for. And I'd like to encourage you guys to be in this for the same people. They're overwhelmed with what they're going through now. They're potentially not, don't even have time to have the conversations or put thought into what and when they're going to do anything with real estate. And they're 6 months away. That's the average person that's in probate. Why? They got a million other things to deal with before it's time to do the house. And remember, 67%, most of the time I have statistics that I'll throw out, and I might be a percent or two off because I don't remember what the real statistic is, but this is always going to stick in my head. 67% of families in probate with real estate, okay, there's real estate involved in the estate somehow. 67% of the time, it's free and clear. And if it's free and clear and there's no mortgage, then that's finally one thing that doesn't have to be urgently addressed. Those are the families that I'm here for. And those are the families that I'm going to encourage you guys to be here for. So, what that means is that you start by building your pipeline. You want to start by building this pipeline of people that you believe are going to sell in 5 or 6 months, and then make sure that you are the most relevant person to their situation when those conversations and decisions start to happen. Be relevant. It's hard to be relevant when you're competing with 5 other agents and 3 other investors in week one, especially when there was a previous relationship with them. It's easy to be relevant when you have 5 or 6 months to market and prospect and establish rapport and establish credibility with someone. So that's why I'm in it for the folks that take a little bit longer to sell. So I wanted to start with that. I totally recognize that there's folks on here that are going about the probate and estate space a little bit differently. I know that Bill Gross, he's attorney heavy. Melanie is very video content heavy. There's some of us that are prospecting heavy, some of us that are letter and marketing heavy. Okay, we're all a little bit different, and all those approaches are good. But I really want to reinforce the fact that the earlier you can connect with someone that's not thinking about real estate today, the better chance you have of being the top agent or investor for them in 6 months when they start making decisions. And that's the time frame that you guys should expect. If you're new in here and you just haven't done probate before, 6 months. That's your window. That's your goal. Now you just need to ask yourself a question. If somebody was on a list or somebody applied for probate, maybe I saw their name on court records or something like that this month, how do I become their most trusted expert in 6 months? Now, how would you do that? So, with that, it kind of leads us to Michael. Michael has his hand up first. What's happening? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, Bruce, Happy New Year. Hope all is well. Haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah, how are you? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, great. So, in my state, probate's pretty darn quickly.
Yep.
It happens quick in New Jersey. Usually by sending letters, by the time I talk to them, there's really not much of a service I could offer them from the probate expertise side. It's really, listing their house as a realtor, and as an investor, I give them that option as well. So I'm usually giving people multiple options, and that's kind of my leg up on one tool in a toolbox people. So, and I usually give 2 or 3 other options as well, one or maybe 2 more options. So a total of 3 or 4. Question is this: I'm getting my lunch eaten by my competition via doing exactly what you were just saying, getting to them before they make the decision. Okay, they're doing it by way of technology, websites. So who can I go to? Who's the coach? Who's got the service that can really kind of roll up their sleeves for me and help me do the keyword searches, whatever. And I start attacking that with my website and getting in front of their faces with the right keywords that they're in my state, my area, typing in so that I can be the one who's going to get the business, because a lot of times it's too late for me. Just by doing the direct mail, which has its benefits, and I love it. And but
Sure.
I just want more business, Bruce.
Yep.
And
Okay. Do you know what the keywords are?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not text first. Now, if you guys do, maybe you guys, I haven't been on a while. Maybe this is what we do, Mike. We've been doing this for a long time. I got you covered. You know,
Okay.
in a perfect world, you're like, no problem. What's your email again? Okay, I'll shoot it. Otherwise, where can I go to master this and get it done?
Okay. So I'm looking around the Zoom room here, and I'm looking for, and I'm not going to call anyone out unless you want to raise your hand and share. I'm looking for those that have done this from a web standpoint or YouTube standpoint.
By
Okay.
the way,
So
I have a lot of video testimonials already, and I'm just not leveraging that content. And
okay.
I feel like, with the right website, internet marketing strategy, hey, maybe there's even a little pay-per-click because you want to get in front of that executor, ASAP. And I know if they come to my site and they see my YouTube videos, it's over. I'm going to win because
Okay.
nobody's got the amount of videos as I do. And I give everybody 1,000%. So I know I'm going to do well, but I just got to get a fighting chance.
Okay. Here's what I'm hearing. Okay. I'm hearing that you have relevant content to what the consumer needs needs to see. And I'm going to emphasize that word. You have relevant content to what the consumer needs to see. They need to see testimonials and reviews. They need to see that you're the top person to sell their inherited house. They need to see that they want to work with a probate expert. So need. Okay. There's a big difference between need to see and want to see. A huge difference. So sell the sizzle, not the steak. They need the steak. They want the sizzle. So they are not out looking for and Googling who's the best realtor to buy my inherited house, who's the best investor to buy my inherited house. That's not what they're looking for. They are not looking for testimonials, real estate testimonials. They're not looking for those things. So you have great content, and your site, your YouTube. Okay, let's talk YouTube for a second. We'll go to websites in a minute. Your YouTube is probably impressive, and like you said, you've got a lot of content. If you can get them there, they're going to love it. They're going to recognize that you're the expert. The trick is you can't get them there with what they need to see. You get them there with what they want to see, with what they're looking for. What are they looking for? How to fill out Form 97T6. Don't Google 97T6. I have no idea what that form is or if it even exists. I just made it up. They are looking for how much does it cost to apply for probate? Who's the best probate attorney in name of your town, New Jersey? How much do probate attorneys cost? They are looking for things like this. How to do an estate sale, how to fill out this form, how to fill out that form. So I can't give you all the exact terms that they're looking for, but what I want you to do is just kind of put yourself in the mind of a clueless consumer representative who's just been thrust into a process that they don't understand and they've never gone through before, and ask yourself, how do I what are they looking for? What are they looking for? Not what do they need, because we know that many times they need to sell a house and they need to work with someone who understands probate. They don't know that. They don't know that. So if you want content, do content around some of those things that they're actually looking for. And what I like to do is go to Google and look at what I think they're looking for. And then look at the Google suggested searches. Okay, that's the easiest, cheapest way to do it. Look at the Google suggested searches. Another thing that you might want to do is get and there's other tools for this. So if somebody knows a um, cheaper tool for this, please chat it in or raise your hand. I might go get SEMrush. So SEMrush not the cheapest tool out there, but it's kind of the top tool for doing SEO searches. So if you want to know what people are searching for and how many hits it gets on an average month, go get SEMrush or a tool like that. Maybe I think there's one called Keyword Search, if I'm not mistaken. I use SEMrush, so I don't know all the other tools that are out there. And look at what consumers are actually looking for. Again, Michael, not what they need. So stop worrying about what they need and start worrying about what they want, what they're searching for. And once you land them, now you can give them a steady dose of what they need. Bill, you use Executorium. Bill, please chime in if you want. I don't want to force you to, but if you have anything to add to this, I'm always interested.
Well, I think the talking to real estate agents all the time, and some of which are on this call, that struggle with, well, what do I share? What do I send out to my clients? And I think, I try to think of the fact that I'm more creative and I move quickly. I think you're the same way, Bruce. But most agents who are starting on this really struggle with, well, where do I get content? And so what I tell them is I would find a good source. I use executorium.com as a great resource. They have on their page, social media they've done that they're fine with you resharing. And so out of the 100 articles, I would say just read a couple that you find interesting. And if you find interesting, the people that you know are going to find interesting, and just summarize that and post that link on your social media and or email it out to your database. But it's already done. And so I would say just start with commenting on other people's material. And over time, you'll start to learn how to create your own. So I
Mhm.
just as a kind of a cheat sheet first step, and executorium.com, I think has a great source. I also think it's a great free resource for everybody on this call to get a profile on, as well as to, in the Probate Mastery, we talk about building your database of servicers. Well, you can get them to promote themselves on Executorium, as well as find services on there that you can solicit for referrals on Executorium. So I just think it fits in really nicely with the Probate Mastery training
Ah,
concept.
I love it. I love it. Um, Duplicate other people's content, is
Yes.
basically what Bill just said, and gave you a specific tool. I've never used Executorium. I need to. I'm gonna try to do that today. So really good tool. Another thing, look and see what the attorneys in your market are writing. Rip it off. Don't present yourself as an attorney, so don't rip it off verbatim because then it's gonna and it's gonna you're gonna come off like an attorney and you've got to be careful giving heavy legal advice. But look at what the attorneys are doing. Um, Michael asked who the go-tos were. So if somebody is doing a really good job with your web content, either video or your website content, raise your hand. I want to hear kind of what you're doing. I do know that one of the people that I like to look at what he's doing is Courtney Rollins. Um, so Courtney Rollins, he's here in my market, Durham, North Carolina, and he does a good job of producing relevant video content, not website content, but video content for YouTube around what consumers are looking for. And if you were to go to find him on YouTube, you're going to see videos that have their 12 views. Okay, they're not getting a lot of views, but you're also going to see videos that have thousands of views. And that's what you want. And when you know that someone's really doing a great job with their content is when you can go to Google and you can look for a specific phrase a specific popular phrase, and their videos show up multiple times on top of the Google search. So I'm kind of a bigger fan of making my videos show up first than I am making my website show up first. Now, I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite in saying that because I work a lot on the Probate Mastery website, making sure that it shows up at the top. So I believe in making a website show first. I think it's easier to make a YouTube video show first, especially when you're competing with attorneys, you're competing with estate sale companies, you're competing with big national home buyers. So I like to try to make my videos pop at the top of a Google search versus a website. And then maybe little by little by little, add blogs and different things like that and link my videos into a website because that's going to help your website rank. But if you do a killer video that matches the exact search term that a lot of consumers are looking for, how to fill out such and such a form, how much does probate cost in New Jersey? How much does probate cost in such and such a town in New Jersey? How much does it cost to apply for probate? What should I do first if I need to apply for probate? Things like that are what consumers are looking for. You do a video or a blog and you match to that specific term. Make sure that you hit that specific term in your subject line multiple times in your video or your blog, and also in the content section underneath of your video. If you do that, it's going to rise to the top. Your Somebody's going to put in a search. There are certain search terms in our area where I could put the search term in, and the first four unpaid things that Google promotes are four videos that Courtney's done. Okay, doesn't matter how good the video is. It's how relevant that video is, how relevant Google thinks that video is to what they searched for. And if you've got four things before they ever get to see anybody else, you've got a great chance of pulling them to work with you. I would also work on pulling them to call you for help with non-real estate things. They'll frequently find you looking for something that has nothing to do with real estate. Ask them to call you for some sort of guidance or free resource. Once you get them, then you can start to spin the conversation toward real estate delicately. So I would try to start most of the relationships from a content standpoint in a without a heavy focus on real estate. I'm not going to say no focus on real estate, but more toward the process and importantly, starting the process of probate. Okay, good. Hopefully that helped. Let me kind of on that topic, I'm going to go after a couple of different things that you guys can do to stand out online. So number one, relevant video on YouTube. YouTube, because it's owned by Google, it's going to rank much higher and Google pushes it to the top of search terms of searches. Pay-per-click. So maybe you go in and type in how to apply for probate I'm in North Carolina, how to apply for probate in North Carolina. There are more than likely a couple of law firms that are paying to have traffic driven to them under that search term. So not many agents or investors have done that. That's an unproven concept, guys. Unproven. If you do it and it doesn't work, don't say Bruce told me to do it. But that is definitely something you could do. You could find what people are searching for and set up a Google AdWords campaign around those search terms and drive it to your website. It's going to require you to have some kind of website or at minimum landing page. I would have a full website with a lead capture on it. So that's a way that you could get traffic to your site. But again, it's not how to sell my inherited property. They're not looking for that. They're not looking for that. They already know a realtor. They already know investors, probably. Okay. So how to apply for probate would probably be the easiest one. All right. Another is go to the chat forums. So the discussion forums like Reddit or Quora. Those are the two most popular discussion forums. And if you can get a viral back and forth going with a specific topic, and I would try to tie it somewhat locally, but if you can get some back and forth going by posting a question and then interacting with the people commenting, it'll rank really high. So video normally ranks the highest organically. If there is good video, it normally ranks the highest organically. Discussion forums, when there's good back and forth and interaction, typically rank second highest. Blogs and websites are typically third. So if you go to a search term, how to apply for probate in North Carolina, and if there's good video, relevant video, it'll normally show up first. If there's a good discussion forum with good back and forth and interaction, it'll typically show up second. and then your blogs and websites normally show up. Now, we can reverse that. You could reverse that with blogs and websites, but I'm just going to tell you Google pushes the video and discussion forums normally faster if everything else is equal. If you go and type that in and it's only websites and blogs that show up first, it just means nobody's done a good video or created a good discussion. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that websites are the best. It just means there's nobody that's done a good video. It's an open market for you to do a good video. And not many people in our probate space, I don't know of anyone, including myself, I don't know of anyone who's got a really good viral discussion going on the probate process. It's been on my list to start. I would do it local. I would do it regional. I wouldn't do it nationwide because then you're going to get discussion that's not relevant. But I'm a believer that we should be doing that in our markets. And then you can just sort of hack the comments by talking to your peers if you want. Okay. So do those. Blogs are important as well. So if you have a really good website, make sure that you're producing solid blogs with a heavy dose of keywords embedded in the blog. If anyone's a writer in here, and I know I've coached a couple of people that are really good writers. They hate writing for blogs. Okay, they hate writing for blogs. Why? Because you need to write a good article and then you need to go in and find that keyword that you want it to pop for and put that keyword in 15 or 20 times. And you look at that blog and you go, oh, I'm agonizing because I keep on putting this key phrase in over and over and over and over again. And it's terrible writing, but guess what? Google loves it. The search engines love it because they can really clearly, their algorithm can really clearly be like, oh, hey, this blog or this video must be about how to apply for probate in North Carolina. Because this person says it 50,000 times. Okay, that's what you want. You want to say it if it's video over and over and over and over again, whatever that keyword is. You want to write it if it's a blog or in your video description over and over and over and over again and make sure that the algorithm can't help but know this must be about that topic. If you just say it once or twice, the algorithm doesn't know. You could have done that on accident. All right. So, all right. That was my tangent. Let's move on. Anybody have anything to add to that or additional questions that you all want to bring up? Sit here quietly. If not, you guys are going to get to hear me give a little pitch on why now would be the time to get probate mastery if you don't have it. And if you want me to stop talking about this, you got to ask a question because I hate pitching and giving commercials on these coaching calls, but I'm filling space. Starting tomorrow, I'm redoing all of the probate mastery lessons with live lessons. So over the next several months, and I don't even know how long it's going to take, it's going to be a while. Over the next several months, we are taking everything that you could possibly know about the probate niche and marketing, prospecting, building a team, understanding the probate court process, creating unique selling proposition, making offers, doing listing presentations, everything. We're going to take all these different topics and we are going to go lesson by lesson in live format for everyone that has probate mastery. So if you guys already have probate mastery, you get to come to all the live classes that are going to take place over the next several months. If you don't have probate mastery, now would be the time to sign up because you get them all. You get them all live. Now, if you can't make one of the live classes, it's fine. It'll be recorded. You'll get everyone with mastery is going to get a copy of the recording. Okay, so there's right now in our database we have about 7,000 people that are kind of in these calls and circulating and thinking about probate and maybe hitting YouTube and watching some free stuff. And that's great. I love you guys. So there's about 7,000 of you there. There's about 1,500 people that have probate mastery. Only the 1,500 are going to have access to these live classes. So if you don't have it, now is the time. Once they are done, there's a strong likelihood that the price for mastery is going to go up. It's not going to happen this month. There's a strong likelihood that it'll go up as we make it better and better and better. Okay. So, Anda, let me go to you first.
Yes. Can you hear me? I think
You're
not.
a little quiet, but we can
Okay,
make it out.
I'll be loud. From my experience making calls, I have some consumers that would brush me off, and I don't know how to keep them on the phone before, so I can share my value,
Yep.
the services that we provide, and I don't know what to do.
I love the brush off.
Hmm.
I build the whole conversation around the brush off. Why? They want to brush you off. Like that is the one thing that they want to do the most. So I think I can build the easiest way for me to build rapport is to give someone what they want. So I'll bait them into doing it. First off, we have to recognize that we're building value. So I'm actually going to go back to Michael. Michael, you don't have to unmute yourself, but Michael chimed in a little bit ago with the SEO question. I had a conversation with Michael a couple of years ago with his calls. And at the time, I was still modifying and developing some things on the phone. And Michael shared the same thing. You know, I'm having a hard time getting people to stick around and listen to the value I'm providing. They don't want to. They don't want to. Even if they do stick around, it's just going to be out of politeness. They're really not listening. So I would rather you summarize the value you provide in one or two sentences. Summarize it and then give them a chance to hold you at bay. So, you know, basically what I do is I act as a concierge to help with almost anything that you might need in probate. I'm going to imagine you probably have everything handled at this point, or maybe is there something you could use some help with? What are they going to say? Yeah, I got it all handled. I've baited them into saying they have it all handled. It's my fastest and easiest way to get to the first objective I have, which is to put information in their hands. I go, okay, really glad to hear that you've got everything covered. I'll tell you what, as you get further into probate, you might need a resource or something. Just think of me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you kind of a list of resources and services available through the community. If anything ever comes up, you give me a call. Is that fair? I'll ask you guys, I'll poll the room. How many of you, if you were a prospect, would say, no, that's not fair. Don't give me that? I think most people would say, yes, that's fair. That leads me to gather an email, make sure that I've got the right address. I've basically just caved into the objection that they gave. Okay. Because I was so polite with it and I cooperated with their resistance so much, I automatically have a little bit of rapport. Even if they don't recognize the rapport, I automatically have a little rapport. And then potentially I could shift topics into real estate potentially. Now, if I can tell that they're just saying, yeah, 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 send it to me, and they're trying to rush me off the phone, I don't necessarily need to dive deep into real estate and all the different things that I can do. Most people are trying to brush me off at that. But bottom line is, I have permission to put material in their hands. And if my material is better than my competitor's material, I automatically have a leg up. Okay. Now, I'm gonna try to pull real estate in if I can. If I can't, I got their permission to send information. I can see what's going on with the house. I can see where the representative lives. I can see where the decedent lives, and I can deduce whether I think the property is going to be sold. So even if we didn't dive into the real estate discussion, I got their permission to send something to be a resource for them at some point in the future, and I can kind of connect the dots on whether I think they're going to sell. If I connect the dots and I say, I don't think there's a sale here, I'm going to email them the resources. If I can connect the dots and tell that there's going to be a sale here, then I'm definitely putting quality, quality mail in their hands multiple times over the next several months. Am I saying a letter is not quality? No. I'm going to have the letter, the postcard mixed in, but that's not what I'm talking about quality. I'm talking about things that they're going to keep. Checklists, packages, brochures, list of comps, maybe a resume. Just kind of think out of the box. Some of these things and the specifics I do hold back for coaching, and I do have some specifics. I'm just trying to get your brains working for those that don't want to dive into coaching. Get your brains working on think quality instead of what your competitor is sending, which is just a postcard. Postcard by itself probably isn't going to work. Letter by itself probably isn't going to work. Okay. Not consistently. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zonda. Appreciate it. Okay. What's your name? It just says Zoom user at the bottom. You're up. You're muted.
Sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Okay, Cristy. My name's Cristy Pappas. I'm an agent in Reno, Nevada.
Great. Nice to meet you, Christy.
So I'm totally new to this and I appreciate you doing this and I do want to take the class and have a coach. But my question that I've been thinking about is a lot of people will say to me, well, you should work with an attorney. You should work with an attorney that specializes in probate. And if you don't know what you're doing, of course, they don't want to work with you. But if you're just starting out with it, you don't know a lot and you're just kind of getting, your feet in the water. How would you approach an attorney who's probably got other people that they're working with already to convince them that you'd be good to work with?
First off, don't don't assume that they have other people that they're working with. They might. They really might. And if they do, I view them the same way that I view my consumer that's 6 months away from selling. I have 6 months to build a better relationship than the other people that might have been ahead of me on the list at first conversation. So the attorney might take, if they have other people on the list, it might take a year, and that's okay. So it's going to take a little while with attorneys, but don't assume that they have other people that they're referring to or working with. The other thing, and Bill does an exceptional job. So Bill, if you heard that question, unmute yourself and chime in a sec. He does an exceptional job building attorney relationships. So just so you guys know, I'm more heavily prospecting, and then I supplement with attorneys. Bill's more heavily attorney. I'm not sure. Bill has got the option of not having to make cold calls. Our team does a lot of cold calls. And now we have the option because we get attorney referrals, but we've selected to continue to go direct to prospect. So back to the attorney real quick. When I'm approaching the attorney, I am approaching them as though I don't know what's going on. I'm approaching them with bait that I think that they're going to find interesting. I found several years ago that the certified probate expert designation was a potential liability when I pushed it front and center with attorneys. Now, that shoots me and my class and my certification in the foot. I want you guys to have the certification, but I used to go to attorneys and say, hey, I'm a certified probate expert. And finally, I got to be really good friends with an attorney, and he said, can I be honest? We laugh in our sleeve when you say you're a certified probate expert because you took an internet class. We went to law school. Okay. We passed the bar. So when I go to attorneys, I'm not a specialist. I'm not an expert. What I am is an agent who over the last year or so has had a few clients that needed an estate plan. And I mentioned to them that I might be able to connect with an attorney that could help with that in the future. And then I just kind of forgot. And then recently I had someone going through probate. That's the way I present. Now I'm acting a little bit because I get a lot of people going through probate and a whole lot of people that need an estate plan. But if I come in like that, puts up a red flag to the attorney. Like this guy's probably overstating. He's probably wanting something. So for me, I've had a couple of people that needed to create like an estate plan. And I just need someone who's interested in doing that kind of business. Now I already know that they are. So would you, by any chance, if we decide to work together, would you be interested in helping any clients that I might have like that? Why
Thank you.
would they ever say no?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you want business, so you can't leave it there. What I would do is I would set up a meeting at their office. So, is there any chance I might be able to come by and see your practice, see your office for 5 or 10 minutes sometime in the next week or two? That's the way that I set it up. And I go to the office, we talk. 15 minutes is probably more appropriate. We talk a little bit. I ask them questions about their practice. At the end of it, I say, hey, look, I think you'd know, and I'd know that I was completely lying if I wasn't trying to grow my own business a little bit at the same time. Do you ever run into any clients that ever have a real estate need? So I don't do that as a fake, oh, by the way, Columbo approach. So if I go to the door and then I go, oh, hey, by the way, that is phony. It's fake. They'll read through it. It just doesn't feel good. So for me, I say, um, before I wrap up, I think we'd both know that I was being a liar if I said that I wasn't trying to grow my business as well. Do you ever have clients that have a real estate need? And if they say yes, is there anyone that you currently refer to? And of all the attorneys I've asked that to, dozen, there have been a handful that said no, I don't refer, and been open to referring. There have been one or two that said I'll never refer. Well, that's okay because I don't have to refer them either. Okay. I'll never refer is a fine answer that they could give me. I don't get offended. It's an answer. It tells me where I need to put my effort in the future. I don't have anyone. I'd be happy to give you a shot. That's what I hope for. If they say I have 3 agents on my list, hey, is there any possible chance that I might be able to make your list one day? What do you think I'd need to do for that? That's how I handle that. But lead with value, lead with what they want. And that what they want is to grow their business. If you lead with what you want, you're out the door. You never get in. Never get in to begin with. Okay. You can unmute
Thank
if you have anything to add.
No, that was really helpful. Thank you. That
Um,
was great.
Bill has developed a way that he does things. So, Bill, if you have something to add to that you'd like to share, please go for it.
Well, I think I would say two things. One is that if you want to work with attorneys, then you need to come from value and knowledge and contribution, not just marketing and cold calling. And so that's why I really, the Probate Mastery, when I took it, the trainer challenged me to go to court to learn what my customers are going through. And I just found a gold mine of information and became a student of all things probate court. So that when I did work, I actually got to where I knew more than the probate attorneys because I was going there regularly. And most probate attorneys only get 1 or 2 cases a year in probate. So I didn't have to tell them I was an expert. I could ask a question that showed I knew things that they didn't know. And so that would be one thing I'd say. If your goal is to work with attorneys, then you should focus on knowledge and information. And then second, I would say that if you're a real estate agent and already doing business, you should be searching deep in your database for customers who need attorneys already to bring those referrals. And it's not that necessarily giving a referral to an attorney will get you business back or will get you two back. It doesn't work that way. But it will get you in the game and you'll learn more so that when you come across an attorney in a networking situation, again, you know more than you would otherwise because of that experience. And so things like, do your clients take title in a trust or individually? Do your clients know about the advantages of estate planning? Are you promoting that to your client database? Can you find an attorney that can speak to your clients or you can interview and share with your clients? Those are ways I think you can find leads in your database of people who have questions and need help, and then use that to build your experience with attorneys.
Yep. I love it. So I want you guys to take the way that what Bill just presented, what I presented a second ago, and where there is disconnect, recognize, and I don't think there's a lot of disconnect between what Bill and I do, but where there is, so Bill is in the courts and he networks. I do cold calls and office visits. Where there's disconnect, recognize that you can do it all, or you could develop your own approach. There are a lot of ways to create really powerful attorney relationships that do lead to referrals. A lot of ways to do it. And there's a few ways that don't work. Okay, what doesn't work? Hey, I'm looking for an attorney that has real estate clients that have real estate needs. Do you want to refer me? Doesn't work, except for occasionally. You might get lucky once or twice, but for the most part, doesn't. So we'll kind of stop you when it's something that isn't going to work. And then when it's something that is going to work, there's 3 or 4 different approaches, and Bill just shared one, and I shared one. And I think it's wildly valuable. Every single one of you needs to go to your courthouse and learn the probate process, the application process, where they go next. What do the hearings look like for the family that's going in probate? Is it closed? Is it open? Can you go sit in? Every court system is going to be different, so you owe it to yourself to go to the courthouse and look at that process. We can teach you so much, but as they say in NLP coaching, the map is not always the territory. So we're going to show you the map. And when you actually walk into the territory, into the courthouse, you see where the logs that are laying over the trail are, and you see where there's briars and different things like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to be, but they have a different name for their application, or they don't let you go to the court hearing. And in a lot of cases, like where Bill is, he goes to the court hearings, right? I think so. You go to the actual hearing, and it's usually 4 or 5 families sitting in the hearing, and the judge is calling one up at a time. It's not private. You can learn so much if that's what your court system's like. Now, if you go and you ask, I had someone today in a New Jersey market, and I've heard the opposite in other Jersey markets, but today I had someone in a New Jersey market that said that they went and they approached the judge, and the judge says, "This is highly inappropriate that you would approach me," which is a very odd response. I wouldn't have expected that. So I want you guys to know that sometimes there's little changes based on the market that you're in, little nuances. So, but there's always a way to create relationships with attorneys. All right, perfect. So thank you so much, Cristy. Appreciate the question. Anybody else? We're coming up toward the top of the hour. I think we have room for one more question if I have one. I did see another hand pop up a little bit ago, but it went down. I don't know if who that was or if you still have a question or comment. But we're here with room to take one more question or comment. While I'm giving you guys a quick second there, anybody that does want into the live classes, let me give you a peek at the next 3 weeks. So this week, tomorrow and Thursday, we're talking about cold mail. So cold mail, we're talking about cold mail strategy and copywriting techniques if you're going to cold mail in your market. Now, I want to be crystal clear. General cold mail does not work in every market. Those people that do cold mail, I think it's best to supplement your prospecting and networking efforts. But we are going to talk for 3 sessions in a row this week, tomorrow, on Thursday, and then again next Tuesday. We're going to talk about cold mail strategies. Next Thursday, we're going to talk about creating your team. And then the next week on Wednesday, we're going to talk more about what your team needs to look like from a vendor standpoint. That gets us through February. All those are going to be live sessions for those that have probate mastery. We're automatically, if you have mastery, you are automatically going to get an invitation tomorrow, 1 hour before the event with your Zoom link. So before each live event that we're having, you'll get an invitation with the Zoom an hour before the actual class is. I sent an email out on Sunday afternoon. So if you're in our email list, go look for Sunday afternoon for the schedule. We'll probably put a schedule out a week ahead of time each time over this month. And then these classes are not going on a specific day and time every single week. They are going to be recorded for anyone that has mastery, and you'll get a copy. So they're not on a specific day and time. I'm trying to find holes in my schedule where I can do a class. They'll be anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how deep we that topic is. In areas where the topic might take 6 hours to break apart, we'll do it in multiple classes. Like cold mail, it's gonna have to be done on 3 different sessions at least. All right, Ron, go for it. You can unmute yourself if you would.
Sorry, didn't realize I was muted. How you doing?
Good, good. How's it going?
Good. I had just a quick question in chat. Is there a resource, I was looking last night again, where there might be 10, 15, 20 questions that you could ask, say do a podcast type interview with, say, a probate attorney or other professionals that are, solving problems within this space. And then you could use that interview as obviously content. But do you have a script or these would be the top 20 questions. If Bruce did it, here's the top 20 things I'd ask, or top 10 or whatever.
Yep. This is actually one of the topics that we're going to cover. It's not coming up for several weeks. Okay. It's probably not going to be covered for at least a month and a half in the live classes. So let me give you a basic overview of the types of questions you could ask. Now, I'm a huge fan of interviewing attorneys on Zoom, recorded. Obviously, with their permission, they need to know that they're showing up for a marketing interview where you're promoting their business to your audience. That's the way I deliver it.
Okay.
And then these questions, the beautiful thing about doing this with an attorney or any business owner is you've got one big full video where you're interviewing them start to finish, but each question could be stripped out as its own video. And you could end up with a 45-minute interview with an attorney. You could end up with 13 or 14 different video topics right there out of that one interview.
Yep.
So categorically, I like to start with about their business. So about their business, questions like, hey, do you have any specialties? Obviously, we know already, but our audience doesn't know. So we ask them about their specialties, what market areas they serve, what does a client get when they work with you? So questions like that. There's dozens you could come up with, but about their business. Next category is understanding estates and probate. So what is probate? We start with something as simple as that. What is a trust? We could ask that question. We might ask a question like, what happens if a decedent passes away without a will? Okay. Dozens of questions that you guys can come up with there, but categorically, that one is understanding estates and probate. Third category is understanding the probate process. An example of a question might be, how much does probate cost? What are the basic steps involved in probate? So come up with as many questions as you can under that category. Category, probate mistakes. Probate mistakes. We want to hit probate mistakes. Are there any examples of times where you've had an estate that needed to be rescued because the process was mishandled? Did you ever step in and fix a mishandled probate process? That's a good question. I like that one. Are there any big mistakes that you see a lot of families make during probate would be another example. Another category is best practices, and I'm not going to hit any questions on this one. So best practices is a category. And then my last category, and I'm sure there's others, my last on my list is common probate difficulties. An example would be what happens when unwanted real estate is upside down. They have real estate, they don't want to keep it, but it's upside down. That would be an example of a question you might ask there. Another example would be, do families typically agree on who gets what? Another example of a question you could ask. So I want you guys to kind of go through categorically and break down questions under each category. And then the beautiful thing, I've got so many questions that I could literally meet with an attorney for 3 hours on an interview. Now I don't do that. I try to bring them back. If we've had a great discussion, I'll invite them back to do another video with me. And then I make sure that keyword it and tag it and say how to find a probate attorney in this area. And next time somebody's looking for them or looking for an attorney, our video shows up. And next time someone's looking for them, let's pretend that you had an attorney named Ron Callahan in your market, okay? And I say probate attorney Ron Callahan, and that's my keyword. And someone has looked at Ron and said, "Hey, I want to look up this guy," and they go look the attorney up. Well, whose videos show up side by side with them over and over and over again? So automatically, I'm piggybacking on to the recognition that people are giving that attorney. So
Right.
I'm a huge fan of this.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. So we're a minute over. I really, really appreciate everybody being here. Come back every single Tuesday. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind. If you want to listen to past recordings, find Estate Professionals Mastermind on your podcast platform or go to our YouTube channel, Probate Mastery. If anyone is not a member of Probate Mastery, so you haven't bought the certification course, but you want in the classes, please jump over to the certification course on probatemastery.com. Grab that and join as many of the live classes as you can. If you miss the live classes, then the recordings will be put into your course library, typically by the end of the week. So a lot of these weeks I'm doing 2 sessions. So if I'm doing 2 sessions and you can't make one, I'll make sure that it's in your Probate Mastery course library. You'll have access. Okay. Appreciate everybody being here. See many of you tomorrow for our cold mail kickoff. See you later.